For over 2 decades, Kelly Ripa has been one of the most recognizable faces on American television. Millions of viewers have watched her laugh, joke, and share pieces of her personal life every single morning. Her husband Mark Consuelos became a household name right alongside her. Their 3 children grew up in the public eye whether they asked for it or not. But out of all 3 Consuelos kids, one name has stayed remarkably quiet. Michael Consuelos, the eldest son, the firstborn, the one Kelly Ripa herself has called the most morally grounded person she has ever known. For years, fans only saw glimpses. A quick appearance on Live, a mention during a holiday segment, a photo posted once in a while. Most people assumed they already knew everything there was to know about Kelly Ripa's son. They were wrong. Details about Michael Consuelos have been slowly leaking out over the past few years, and what they reveal is a story almost nobody expected. A story about a young man who turned down the easy path, survived a career collapse that would have broken most people, and quietly built something entirely his own. These are the little-known details about Michael Consuelos that are finally coming to light. Growing up as the eldest child of 2 television stars should have guaranteed one thing: constant attention. Michael Consuelos was born in 1997 into a family that was already deeply embedded in the entertainment industry. His mother was starring on one of the biggest daytime shows in America. His father was building an acting career that would eventually land him on some of the most watched series in the country. Cameras were not something Michael encountered occasionally. They were part of the furniture. He spent his childhood backstage at Live with Kelly, watching his mother prepare for national broadcasts. He saw what real television production looked like before most kids his age even understood what a producer did. But unlike many celebrity children who lean into that access and chase the spotlight early, Michael did something that confused a lot of people. He stayed quiet. He did not start posting constantly on social media. He did not chase reality television appearances. He did not try to build a personal brand off his parents' fame. Instead, he went to school. He ran cross-country. He studied. He kept his head down. That decision was not an accident. Kelly Ripa has spoken about how Michael developed a personality that was distinctly different from what people might expect from a celebrity kid. She described him as having the strongest moral compass of anyone she knows, calling him thoroughly kind and genuinely decent. Those are not casual compliments from a mother. That is a specific observation about character that Kelly Ripa has repeated publicly on multiple occasions. The quietness was not shyness. It was a choice. Michael Consuelos was comfortable being the person in the room who supported others rather than the person demanding attention. That trait showed up most clearly in how he treated his younger siblings. When Lola Consuelos began pursuing music, Michael became her loudest advocate. He praised her talent openly in interviews, even admitting something surprisingly honest. He told reporters that supporting Lola had not always been easy when they were younger. Like most siblings, he had found her musical ambitions annoying at times during childhood. That honesty made his later praise carry real weight. He was not simply saying nice things because she was his sister. He had watched her grow as an artist, understood the work she put in, and developed genuine respect for her craft. The childhood teasing transformed into adult admiration, and Michael made sure people knew it. Joaquin Consuelos received the exact same treatment. When Joaquin made his Broadway debut in Death of a Salesman in March of 2026, stepping onto one of the most prestigious stages in American theater, Michael was in the audience. He showed up the way he always had, as the brother cheering from the sidelines, proud and present without needing the moment to be about him. That pattern of showing up for his family without making it about himself became one of the most consistent details about Michael Consuelos. But it was not the only detail that was starting to emerge. What most fans never realized was that Michael's discipline did not come from Hollywood. It came from something completely different, something physical, something grueling, something that had nothing to do with cameras or scripts or famous last names. Long before Michael Consuelos ever stepped onto a professional television set, he was already competing, just not in the way anyone expected. At Ethical Culture Fieldston School in New York, Michael spent 4 consecutive years running distance events for both the cross-country and track and field teams. This was not a casual extracurricular activity he picked up to fill time between classes. Distance running requires a specific kind of mental toughness. It demands early mornings, consistent training, and the ability to keep pushing forward when your body is screaming at you to stop. The finish line in distance running is never close. You have to learn to function with discomfort for extended periods. That is not a skill that comes naturally to most teenagers. Michael Consuelos developed it over 4 years of serious competition, and it paid off in a way that almost nobody outside the family ever heard about. His senior year ended with a first-team All-Ivy selection. That is a legitimate athletic honor that recognizes the top performers across some of the most competitive schools in the region. For a kid whose parents were already famous television personalities, earning recognition purely on athletic merit was a quiet but significant achievement. It proved that Michael could compete and succeed in an arena where his last name meant absolutely nothing. The stopwatch does not care who your mother is. That discipline followed him directly into college. During his freshman year at New York University, Michael earned a spot on the men's cross-country roster while simultaneously studying film at the Tisch School of the Arts. He was waking up for early morning training sessions and then heading to demanding college classes in one of the most competitive film programs in the country. Balancing athletics and academics at that level requires serious time management and personal sacrifice. Michael was doing both while growing up under the natural attention that followed his parents everywhere. He never used his athletic achievements as a publicity tool. He never posted about them extensively or tried to build a narrative around being a celebrity kid who also happened to be a runner. He simply did the work, earned the results, and moved forward. That pattern of quiet achievement would become the defining theme of his entire young adult life. But the biggest test of that discipline was still coming, and it would arrive in a form that nobody could have predicted. In 2020, Michael Consuelos graduated from New York University's Tisch School of the Arts, officially becoming the first sibling in the Consuelos family to earn a college degree. It should have been one of the best moments of his life. He had spent years studying film and television production at one of the most respected programs in the country. He had a writing job already lined up. The path forward looked clear. Then the world shut down. The global pandemic hit with a force that devastated the entertainment industry almost overnight. Production stopped. Sets closed. Writers' rooms went dark. The job that Michael had secured disappeared before he could even start. Ripa spoke publicly about how difficult that period was for the family, admitting that Michael's graduation looked nothing like what they had imagined. Instead of a ceremony filled with classmates, celebrations, and the excitement of launching into a new career, Michael graduated during a time of unprecedented uncertainty. For someone who had spent 4 years in college specifically preparing to enter the entertainment industry, watching that industry freeze was devastating. The opportunity that was supposed to be his starting point simply vanished. Most people would have panicked. Some would have pivoted to something completely different. Others might have leaned heavily on their parents' connections to force an opportunity that did not exist. Michael did none of those things. Ripa and Mark Consuelos made a quiet family decision to give their son an extra year of breathing room. They allowed him time to figure out his next move without the pressure of immediately replacing a career path that had been erased by forces completely outside his control. It was a decision that most fans never heard about. There was no public announcement, no interview explaining the situation. The family simply adjusted behind closed doors the way families do. That extra year turned out to be important, because job searching during a total industry shutdown builds a specific kind of resilience. It teaches patience when everything around you is uncertain. It forces you to develop skills and explore options you might never have considered otherwise. And for Michael Consuelos, that period of uncertainty eventually led to something that changed the entire direction of his career. But before that career move happened, there was another side of Michael's story that fans had only seen in fragments. A side that involved stepping directly into his father's shoes in a way that went far deeper than anyone realized. Music. Michael Consuelos' first real acting credit came in 2018 when he landed a small role on Riverdale. It was a minor part, but it gave him something valuable. Experience on a professional set. A chance to see how a major television production actually functioned from the inside. He returned to Riverdale in 2021, but this time the role carried a weight that no casting director could have planned. Michael was cast as a younger version of Hiram Lodge, the same character his father Mark Consuelos had originated and made famous. This was not simply a fun father-son cameo. Michael was stepping into a role that millions of viewers already associated directly with his dad. He had to deliver a performance that felt connected to Mark's portrayal while still making the character his own. The casting highlighted something that fans had been noticing for years. The resemblance between Michael and Mark Consuelos is striking. Photos of the two together are frequently mistaken for images of the same person at different ages. Their facial features, build, and even mannerisms are remarkably similar. Kelly Ripa has pointed out the resemblance publicly on multiple occasions, and viewers have flooded comment sections over the years noting how Michael looks and even sounds like his father. Working on Riverdale reportedly felt like a genuinely positive experience for Michael. The cast and crew were described as welcoming and enjoyable to work with. Rather than making the experience about his famous parents, Michael used it as an opportunity to build professional relationships and gain real acting experience. By 2026, his acting resume included approximately 7 credits, including the Lifetime television movie Let's Get Physical in 2022 and a role in DeSocia in 2023. Let's Get Physical carried an additional layer of family connection. The project was executive produced by both Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos through their production company. Michael was not simply acting in a random project. He was working on something his parents had built from the ground up, giving him a first-hand look at how producing, development, and creative decision-making work at a professional level. That experience behind the scenes turned out to be more important than anyone realized at the time, because Michael Consuelos was about to make a career move that would surprise almost everyone. In 2023, Michael Consuelos landed a job at Bravo. Not as a cast member, not as a guest star. He went behind the scenes working on some of the biggest reality television franchises in the country, including The Real Housewives and Summer House. Andy Cohen, who has known Michael since childhood through his long friendship with Kelly Ripa, called the move a full-circle moment. The kid who had grown up backstage at Live was now working behind the camera on some of the most watched unscripted shows on television. Cast members from Summer House have noted that there is not much overlap or socializing between the production side and the talent side of the show. Michael was working, really working, not coasting on a famous name or showing up for photo opportunities. He was doing the actual behind-the-scenes labor that makes reality television function. That same year, Michael also made a guest hosting appearance on Live with Kelly and Mark, standing on the same stage where he had watched his mother work since he was a toddler. The moment was emotional for the family and for longtime viewers who had watched Michael grow up on that very set. But the Bravo job represented something bigger than a single hosting appearance. It represented a deliberate career choice. Michael Consuelos had decided that his future in entertainment was not primarily in front of the camera. It was behind it, producing, developing, and shaping content rather than performing in it. That decision aligned with everything his family had said about his personality for years. The quiet supporter, the person who showed up for others, the one with the strong moral compass who never needed to be the center of attention. Working behind the scenes on major television productions was not a fallback plan. It was the natural extension of who Michael Consuelos had always been. But the professional details are only part of what has been leaking out. The personal details paint an even more complete picture of who Michael Consuelos actually is when the cameras are off. Michael Consuelos does not use social media often. When he does post, the content reveals specific things about his personality that interviews and television appearances never capture. Out of roughly 10 public posts, 3 feature beach and vacation photos. A January 2023 shot on the sand. A June 2025 picture beside an infinity pool overlooking the ocean. The beach obsession clearly runs in the family. Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos have shared countless vacation photos over the years, and the entire family travels together regularly. Michael's love for the ocean is not a new development. It is a continuation of something he grew up with. Then there is the fashion situation. Michael has openly admitted to raiding his father's closet, joking that Mark always notices when items go missing. It is a small detail, but it says something real about their relationship. Despite being a grown man with his own apartment, his own career, and his own identity, Michael still borrows his dad's clothes. The resemblance between them makes it work in a way that would not work for most families. When you look almost identical to your father, sharing a wardrobe just makes practical sense. Home life adds another layer. After moving into his own apartment in Brooklyn, Michael got a dog, a Shih Tzu named Rosie, who was about 3 years old when she joined the family. Kelly Ripa and Mark Consuelos have jokingly referred to themselves as proud grandparents of a dog, and the entire family adores Rosie. It is the kind of ordinary, relatable detail that makes Michael feel like a real person rather than just a celebrity's son. He is a young guy living in Brooklyn with a small dog who steals his dad's clothes and posts beach photos when he goes on vacation. But there is one more detail that has been leaking out that might be the most surprising of all. Michael Consuelos has described a genuine and deep passion for horror as a genre. Not just watching horror movies, writing them. He has spent serious time working on horror novels, developing stories and characters in a genre that requires a specific kind of creative imagination. Nothing has been published yet, but the commitment to the craft is real. Reading fuels that passion constantly. Michael has talked about how audiobooks fill the gaps whenever he does not have access to a physical book. He is someone who is almost always consuming stories in one format or another. When Kelly Ripa released her own book, Livewire, Michael read the entire thing shortly after it came out. He described the experience as proud-making, watching years of his mother's hard work finally come together in published form. That moment captured something important about how Michael relates to his family's creative work. He is not competitive with it. He is not trying to outshine it. He genuinely celebrates it while building his own creative world separately. An early internship at his parents' production company, Mojo, gave him his first real look at how the entertainment business functions behind the scenes. That internship, combined with his Bravo experience and his acting credits, created a well-rounded understanding of the industry that very few people his age possess. Michael Consuelos has seen entertainment from almost every angle. As an audience member backstage as a child, as a student studying it formally at Tisch, as an athlete building discipline that transferred directly into professional work ethic, as an actor stepping into his father's iconic character on a major series, as a behind-the-scenes producer working on some of the biggest reality shows on television, and as a writer developing his own original horror fiction in his spare time. That is not the resume of someone coasting on a famous last name. That is the resume of someone who has been quietly and deliberately building a career from every possible direction. The little-known details about Michael Consuelos that have been leaking out over the past few years tell a story that most people never expected. This is not a celebrity kid who partied his way through his 20s and crashed into scandal. This is not someone who demanded attention or tried to turn his parents' fame into a personal brand. This is a young man who ran cross-country at an elite level, graduated from one of the top film schools in the country, survived a career collapse caused by a global pandemic, stepped into his father's iconic television role, landed a behind-the-scenes job at Bravo, started writing horror novels, got a Shih Tzu named Rosie, and still borrows his dad's clothes. Kelly Ripa once said that Michael has the strongest moral compass of anyone she has ever known. After seeing all these details come to light, that statement does not sound like a mother exaggerating. It sounds like the most accurate description possible. Michael Consuelos did not need the spotlight to build something meaningful. He just needed time, discipline, and the quiet confidence to do things his own way. Which of these details surprised you the most? The elite running career? The horror novel writing? Or the fact that he still raids his dad's closet? Drop your answer in the comments below. Hit that like button if you enjoyed this deep dive, and subscribe for more untold celebrity family stories every single week.